My name is Mikey Disko. I am from San Francisco, California. I am from a group called Soulsector and a group called Knuckleneck Tribe. I'm part of the Mop Top family from New York, and I also represent the Zulu Nation, and I represent enjoyment and laughter. How are you? And bringing together this bounce. I've been dancing since 1990 or 1991. Some say I was involved in the golden era of hip-hop, the early 90s in the Bay. The Bay Area was one of those places in America that had a very prominent hip-hop scene overall and not just dance. Whereas some of the most talented MCs, graffiti writers, and DJs come from here, along with b-boying and dancing. So my background is in dance is actual hip hop culture. If I could DJ, I would DJ. If I could rap, I would rap. But dancing is just the art form that I got into, and the one I resonated with, and the way that I can express myself in hip hop culture. 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Bounce, bounce. I can't say that there's one single inspiration when it comes to dance. I mean, when I was a kid, the people I looked up to were, if I forget anybody, please excuse me if I forget anyone. Well, some of the groups I looked up to was Knuckleneck Tribe, which was a group of b-boys that were DJ Q-Bert's dancers. They ended up being West Coast Rocksteady. What they did was they mixed hip hop dancing with popping with breaking. It was back then all the dances. It wasn't really separated. You know, if you were a dancer in a cipher who freestyled, whether you mixed breaking or whatever, the term we called it back then, it was called housing. No relation to house music, but again, this is the early 90s. We had lack of, information. We didn't have computers or anything like that, so terminology from one coast to the next was different, and we pretty much made our own names for things. So the term that was used back then was called housing. So I looked up to Knuckleneck Tribe, and I looked up to a group called Housing Authority from Richmond, who did hip-hop. I looked up to one of my main influences was a group from New York called the Mop Tops. Mostly Buddha Stretch, Loose Joint, Link, and the Misfits, which was Mark Quest, Rubber Band, Keto, and Prancer. So I looked up to those guys, and I saw them on a documentary on PBS called Wreck and Shop Live from Brooklyn. I saw that in about 90. It had to be 92 because that's when it was released. 92. I was a sophomore at that point, but I was already dancing before I saw that. But that kind of influenced the direction where I was going to go with dance. It got me more into more focused on hip-hop freestyle, which is really like a mix of hip-hop party dances, same bounce, mixed with elements of other street dances, and by changing the feel so that it has a hip-hop feel, creating freestyles, based on those movements that are applied to hip-hop. So yeah, I looked up to the Mop Tops, Misfits, Knuckleneck, Housing Authority. I mean, there's a lot of groups in the Bay Area in the early 90s. There was like 70-something groups. If you do the math, that's say 10 people per group. That's a lot of dancers. So I mean, at the time since there was no information, we were learning off. There was no studios. We weren't doing dancing in studios. The only way you really learn is at in the ciphers. So I was brought up more with that train of thought, opposed to being in a studio or going 5, 6, 7, 8. I never actually went to a studio until 2000 something. You know what I mean? So, but I still maintain the mentality of, you know, freestyle and applying dance to hip hop culture as opposed to just the dance scene.
With your legs in a W, your knee, you're just rolling it out. And you're going on your toe and bringing it back in. 1, 2. 1 out, 2.
There's an event tonight
Yeah.
here at City Dance in San Francisco. Big shout out to City Dance because this was like the first studio that I taught regularly at. I don't teach regularly anymore. I do have a weekly session. I feel that it's more productive to have sessions where you have interaction with people, and then you have time to explain concepts, and then you can exchange ideas. I think I like that better than, you know, having a regular class where people are just learning a routine. So shout out to City Dance for, you know, like, for being one of the places that you know, I used to call home, you know. But yeah, it's tonight. Next month I'm judging a contest in Toronto with Mr. Wiggles called Area 51, and I actually have a lot of projects in my back pocket that I'm working on. We are reforming the original group that me and a few of my friends were influenced by, Knuckle Neck Tribe. It's basically gonna have some of the guys that I grew up with: Rob Nasty Profo, Wicket, and Wacko. Some of the people that have been around for the past 20 years and who've become influential in this scene or across the globe themselves. I have nothing solid yet, but I'm constantly, you know, something's always coming up. I had a good year this year. You know, I did a tour in China. Got to go to Europe a couple times. And I usually go to Brazil a few times, or once a year. So, you know, it's been kind of consistent, but at the same time, I do hold down a regular job. You know, so I try to balance that, and I actually try to encourage other dancers to not only focus on your dancing, which is your craft, your hobby. I don't want to say hobby. Let's say craft or art form. You know, put energy into that, but at the same time, learn other things in life. Something that will help you in your career or whatnot. Just have other skills. I'm actually excited for this battle because a good friend of mine, Dennis Infante, who is, again, like I have a lot of influences, and Dennis is one of those guys who, when I'm around, he brings out the best in me because he's a very talented dancer. He's a really good DJ. He knows music. So for him to put an event together, him being a dancer, him being a DJ, he has a good idea of what people are going to want to hear and how to bring a good vibe. So I am really excited about supporting him in his efforts. I'm also excited about some of the guys that I heard are entering. I'm kind of hyped about, like this kid Dopey Fresh, a turfer from here in Frisco. So the guy McFleazy, they're all entering, another turfer. And I just like seeing multiple styles done well, you know. And I'm not, particular to, I do multiple styles, but, I focus more, let's say, on hip-hop. But I like and appreciate all the other dance styles, especially if they're done well. And seeing different styles go head-to-head, that's going to be kind of sick for me. So I'm excited to see Wacko tonight. I heard Bryce from the Playboys is entering. He's one of someone I feel is very, very talented, and I find intimidating. I get that, but yeah, I'm excited.